does the studio tell me? I've got somebody out there already. Oh, wonderful. Evening. Dirty faces there. Evening. I hope you're all good. There's somebody can. Oh, they've gone away. And back again. There we go. Bloody beard's all wonky tonight. Leave it alone, Mike. Leave your beard alone. Yeah, right. Evening. Good evening. I hope you're good. If anybody out there could tell me whether or not you're seeing and hearing this okay, is the sound coming across? Is the light coming across? My rugged good looks.
Good evening, Sam.
Evening, Sam. How you doing? Nice to see you back, mate. Yeah, I'm back.
Yay.
Hey. Yes, good to have you back, dude. Good to have you back. Hope you're doing well. Hope all is going good for you. Yeah. Yes. What else can we say, really? It's I hope you're all right. Hope you're doing well. Sound coming across all right, Sam? And image?
It's me.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. Right. Oh, we've got 3 up now. 3 up. Oh, 3. Right, as usual, I have to wait till 2000 hours because that's when I said I'd go live, although I always got a few minutes early just to let people know we are here, and also so that I can test the system, make sure we got a reasonable image and the sound quality is there. Tonight I am ably assisted by my darling wife Kaz, who is sitting over here, and yeah, I might just give you all a peek. That's the darling Kaz.
Hello.
So she's ably assisting me this evening, making sure I don't miss anything on the comments, because I got a bit to get through. Coffee. I'll get a little bit on that whilst I'm here. Yeah, summer's here, isn't it? Yes, bloody weather. I want it to rain a little bit more personally. I want it to damp the ground down. I want a bit of rain up the woods.
Today was due to be 70% chance of rain, but it didn't happen.
Yes, supposed to be 70% chance of rain for us today. Didn't get it. We could really do with a bit of moisture in the ground and in the woods. Give it a bit of protection. Keeps drying out the way it is. Well, yeah, it really makes a mess of being able to do things up the woods. But hey ho, and it's not good for growing, not so good for the wild plants, and it's definitely not helping the birdies. The little boydies is on my feeder every day now, grabbing what they can, and yeah, going through the moisture. So you've got to do what you can for them. It's you got our rain.
Well, can you send it down, please, Sam?
Sam, could you just direct it down here, mate? You don't need all that rain up in Yorkshire, okay?
Sharing.
You get enough moisture up there. Send some down here to the deserted south.
Good evening, Dog Dad.
That's all right, Dog Dad. Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. I'm sorry about my comment earlier on. It was only after you type something and you send it up and you're like, oh, that looked a bit sarcastic. Didn't mean it to sound like that, mate. I was actually watched the video and I thought it's the sort of shit that happens to me. Wake up in the morning in the middle of a firefight. Excellent, mate. Excellent.
Dirty Faces.
Dirty Faces, good evening. How you doing? Right, so where are we? We're at 1959. Just a few more seconds to go, and then I can crack open my Sunday cigar and my cider, and then I shall get into my news segment. Bushcraft news. That's not really bushcraft news. I just actually sat down and thought about it over the last couple of days and wrote up some notes for myself, as well as going back over one of my stories. It's some bits of information that hit this week I found quite interesting. There we go, 2000 hours. So the sun is over the yard arm. I am on the Merry Down tonight, and as you can see, it's been nicely chilled.
I'm on the water.
And my darling wife is on a mineral water.
Because I'm not feeling too.
Yeah, she's not feeling too good. So, but again, I shall have my weekly pint of cider, which is lovely and cold, and I am looking forward to this. I have been looking forward to this all week, funny enough. Fresh air. Well, I've had enough of fresh air this week, mate. I've got plenty of that, don't you worry. Law Mice, good evening, my friend. How you doing? Oh,
evening, Lee.
Do excuse me, that side is going down well. Evening, Lee. Oh, right. Moisture from the glass is on my hands. So, sacrificial opening of the cigar box. Get the cellophane off.
Yeah. Tanto.
Where my Tanto. That's one I made a few years ago. It was made out of a Farrier's rasp. Yeah, one of those things you do for the fun of it. And that was an actual fact. And that was one of the first Kydex sheaths I ever made, which plays out quite nicely. But, yeah, Kydex, that's an interesting.
In Foxy.
In Foxy Lady, the witch. Evening, sweetheart. That's if you don't mind me calling you sweetheart. These days, I do have to be careful. I don't wish to offend anybody. Hello, Yorkshire Outdoors Survival.
Today, I shall see myself. I'm a weasel. I shall call myself a weasel.
Yes, you are. You are being a weasel today.
Today, I'm a weasel. Yep.
Today, you're a weasel. Okie doke.
Not male, not female. I'm a weasel.
Not male, not female weasel. Okie doke.
Oh, hello, Derek.
Derek. Hola, senor. How are we doing out there? I wonder. I'm glad you like the bag. Lovely comments. Thank you very much. And I will say to everybody, have a dive over, have a look at Hang Tough. Go and have a look at his channel. Absolutely fantastic guy. He knows his stuff. And it gives us a very nice view of it stateside with no waffle, no BS. He's up in Oregon. Yeah, hopefully next year, if I get the chance, I'm going to get out there, even if it's just to hop on a mail flight, whiz out there, spend a couple of days, have a bit of a camp with him, and then whiz back. We will try and do some sort of meet-up. Other than that, guys, cigar time. So, on with the cigar. Now, first thing I'd like to go through is, let's think. All right, what have I been watching in my spare time this week? Apart from my usual friends like Hang Tough, Dog Dad, you guys up in Yorkshire, Evening Hampshire Hog Hunters Club. So here's a thing I found on YouTube I've been enjoying. And some of you may have come across this before because I believe it's been out there since 2016. It's on a channel called FD Survive. That's Fox Delta Survive, FD Survive. And the series is called Dropped. And it follows two brothers, Chris and Casey Kiefer, who go out and test their survival skills in a series of challenges. Very well made, very interesting. Shows a lot of hunting, so if you're a bit sensitive about that, it might not be your thing. But again, they are surviving in the wilderness. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And they've got a whole series of different challenges they have to face. Makes it very, very interesting. So, yeah, get over and have a look at that. So, I'll say again, FD Survive is a channel, and the series is called Dropped. So, even if you go onto YouTube and just put Dropped and have a look through, you'll find it. It's bloody entertaining and bloody interesting. Yes, very good.
Evening, Rick.
Evening, Rick. Other things on the news this week. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. The Berlin Lioness.
Da, da,
Da, da, da. Well, I ain't bloody surprised. When I had a look into it, it turns out that in Germany there's actually no licensing with dangerous animals. There's no restriction. You pretty much have what you want as long as you've got it on your property. So it made me chuckle because, again, like a lot of you guys, we saw the news reports, Berlin lockdown, there's a lioness on the loose, it was seen chasing a wild boar. There's a tiny little bit of video footage, and it is a tiny little bit of video footage of this lioness. Yeah, I had a look at it, and I freeze framed it individually on the way through, and I'm inclined to think lion or big cat over a wild boar. I know the mayor very quickly within 24 hours was going, "We have analysed this and it is a wild boar." Yeah, I'm not so sure, right? I think it just might be
roundy cat
I think it might have been costing him a lot of money in police force and all the rest of it to control it. And the attitude is that if it is a lioness, it will get run over. Yeah, it's difficult. I could be wrong. That sometimes when you see images and they're a bit difficult, if you're looking for a cat, you'll see a cat. Yeah. Sometimes if you're looking for a dog, you'll see a dog. I have to accept the fact that the image wasn't brilliant. However, my mind looking at it and trying to analyse it is saying, I'm bloody sure it's a big cat. So that was the Berlin Lioness. Further news, the Asclepian snake or rat snake, okay, is now recognised as the 4th species in the UK. Okay, so we already had in true snakes in the UK, we've had the adder, okay, which has been here for thousands of years. Okay, had the grass snake, again, been here for thousands of years. We have the smooth snake, which has been here for thousands of years and is very, very rare. So very rarely talked of because it's not often seen. And now they've added the Asclepian snake, if I'm saying it right, Asclepian snake or rat snake. Now, this species existed in the UK pre-Ice Age, and the Ice Age knocked it out. Existed throughout Europe and throughout the world, in fact. Grows to 6 feet. Is absolutely harmless. Okay, it is a non-aggressive species, so if you come across it, it will not bite you, it will not attack. It's not in its nature. In actual fact, it is the snake seen on the when you see the medical symbol, you see the sword with the snake around it. That's the snake seen there because it was always considered a favoured snake. It was harmless. Known throughout Europe as something to be encouraged around the home because it hunts rats and mice and is completely harmless to human beings. It won't strike, it will avoid you. It will not even dry bite you if you pick it up. It's one of these species, you pick it up and you'll go, "Oh, don't eat me." So we now officially have 3 colonies in the UK. We have 1 colony, fun enough, Regent's Park in London. Okay, it's not from the zoo, but it exists in Regent's Park. And we have 2 colonies in Wales. Okay, so I would like to say to the Asclepian snake or the common rat snake, welcome to the UK, my friend. You're a migrant, we'll have. Yeah, you get onto them rats and mice.
As a junior, it actually looks very similar to a grass snake.
Yes, as a junior snake, as a young snake, it does look very, very similar to a grass snake. It does have the slight greeny band on the side of the jaw. But absolutely stunning and beautiful.
Mac, you know we'll pick it up by the tail.
I pick all snakes up. I like snakes. I've worked with a lot of hepatologists over the years. One of my duties on the ranges was removing various critters from places they shouldn't be. Anyhow, let's get on to the Darwin Awards. Or, not the Darwin Awards. I must thank Mac and the Hampshire Hog Hunters for pointing this out to me. Almost made me spit my coffee across my breakfast this morning. Okay, So the UK has had the biggest cliff slide in 60 years on the Jurassic coast. And we know how unstable the Jurassic coast is. It's a layer of clay and it has sandstone above it. The cliffs can rise to 300 feet. And like a lot of other places in the UK, it's just being constantly eroded. So we had a stretch, the largest cliff fall in the UK in 60 years occurs. Okay. And within hours, there are people stood on the edge of the cliff fall, right at the edge, photographing the cliff fall. Let's go get a selfie at the cliff fall. Half the cliff's just dropped away, but sod it. It won't happen. Lightning doesn't strike twice, you know. Let's go and have a look.
Darwin.
Bloody idiots. Darwin. Right? I was waiting. Because I tell you what, if one of those cliffs goes and you're stood on the edge of it, they ain't finding bugger all of you. Yeah. Yeah, it's a dodgy. It's a beautiful part of the country, but it is such an unstable cliff. All the way along the Jurassic coast, it's quite unstable. I will say the cliffs only tend to get stable once you get down to my end, down to Cornwall. Yeah, we're very stable down there. All that granite, good hard rock. As long as you don't have too much cider, that is. Okay, so that's it. That's news. I've covered that bit, and yeah, I've made notes this week, so I know what I'm doing. And I didn't stick it up on the wall behind me, so I just made notes.
Yeah, you're right then.
Weather alerts have come in handy for me this week. I've been out and about, and it's actually stood me in good stead because it saved me getting soaked to skin a couple of times. So I do appreciate the local weather alerts, and I will say trying out several of them at the moment. I'm finding Metcheck's pretty much the most accurate. I'll be trying a few of the others, and I'll let you know what I think. Because again, one of the things you want to do if you're an outdoors person, plan ahead, think ahead. And if you're a prepper and you're prepper minded, don't just look at the short range weather forecast. Look a month ahead. I know weather forecasting is not that accurate. However, if you learn to study and follow, or just start following things like the jet stream and seeing how it interacts, okay, you can normally be a step or two ahead in your planning. Okay, if you know we're going to get a hot, dry period, which they're saying is a high possibility through August and September this year, you can plan for it and you can start picking up those bits and pieces now before the prices hike through the roof when it comes. I try and guess the weather a month ahead. It's not always spotty dog, but yeah, I try and plan ahead if I can. Got to say again, big thank you to my mate Derek, Hang Tough. Yeah, he gave me a lovely comment on his channel, and I really do appreciate it, mate. All I did was send him out a bag I liked, so I fired one off to him out there because I know they can't get them in the States, and he seemed like a guy that would review it and give it an honest opinion. So yeah, Derek, thank you very much. I do appreciate that, mate. Dog Dagger Outdoors done a brilliant video this week. Dive over and have a look at his. I was watching it just before we came on, and he gave it and he won't mind me saying this, an absolute perfect example of knowing your scenarios, knowing your ground, and knowing the eventualities and the risks. Okay. I'm not going to say too much. You'll have to dive over his channel and have a look. And he's on here, and he knows he won't mind me saying it, but and he will agree with me. It's a perfect example of what can go wrong and why you should be prepared, why you should know how to bug out if you need to, your routes, have things planned, and know your environment. Okay.
We have CB radios. We use in the Land Rovers, but we don't use ham.
No, don't. We've got to have a license for ham over here. And Tom, a Prepared Pathfinders, dive over and have a look at his channel and say hi to him. It's another UK channel, ex-Pathfinder, another guy that really knows his stuff, and I've thoroughly enjoyed his channel this week. So Tom, if you're ever watching this, cheers, mate. Do appreciate it. Hank Duff, Derek, cheers, mate. And yeah, Guinness. I hope that Guinness was good and cold. It looked like it settled nicely, but you've got to have your Guinness cold. Dog Dad, exactly that, bud. And that's, I appreciate you putting that video up, because like me, you're a realist. Things do go wrong, and I won't hide it when they go wrong. even if it's a bit detrimental to myself, I'll show it because it's a learning lesson for anybody that's new into it, anybody that's watching. And again, it's not when it goes wrong, it's how you react and act when it goes wrong. Okay, no panic. You sat there, you did all the right things. You're like, right, okay, basically, we've been bumped. I'll pack my kit up. I know where everything is. I'll get it packed away orderly, put the white light on, walk out. It's not illegal for you to be there. So, again, I tell you what, that would have been a trippy experience for me, waking up in a hammock in the middle of a firefight. Bloody hell.
Yes, Lee, if it ain't raining, it ain't training.
Yeah, if it ain't raining, it ain't training. I have considered programs like Alone, although I will admit, for Alaska, my skill set's not there. I don't have enough experience of the terrain and the environment. If I was going to go on something like Alone in Alaska, then I would want to go out and spend a good year and a half out there. I want to see all the seasons. I want to learn about the topographical flora, fauna, I can't get it out tonight.
Yeah, we doing it now.
I don't it, but you know what I mean. The terrain. I want to learn about that before I throw myself in at the deep end again, because again, it's something like Alone. You're going to be up against other people that have the experience of that environment. I'm pretty sure if I took some of those guys that have been on that program and took them into environments I'm used to, they would equally be out of their depth. So yeah,
I could help you, Mac. I'm sure I could catapult some pro scarers in while you and Mitch are hammocking.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah. So I shall. For those of you that are new to this idea, quite often what I'll do is I'll tell a survival story. And the idea is, whilst I'm telling the survival story, you can fire up questions if you like, but by all means, chat amongst yourselves and just have me going in the background. Okay, please bear with me. There's been a lot of turning pages here today. It's not a particularly long one, but it's one that I came across a couple of years ago, and it involved a young man, and it involved a species that for us over here we don't hear a lot about, and I found it very interesting in doing my follow-up, my research on it about the species, because I'd always considered them as something fairly harmless unless you were a small prey animal. Okay, so this story concerns a young man who was 16 years old. His name was Jackson Jordan. Okay, a little bit of a background. This young man had been hunting with his father since the age of 6. Okay, they live in a very rural environment and they regularly hunt. At the age of 13, he was experienced enough for his father and the other guys that he hunted with to allocate him his own area and allow him to hunt on his own. Okay, it became a regular pastime for him where he would come home from school, pack up his kit, and he would go hunting. So by the age of 13, he was an accomplished outdoorsman. Okay, he was used to hunting. He had lived this lifestyle, so he wasn't somebody that had just strayed off into the woods and had a bad experience. This is a guy that knew his stuff. And bear in mind, 13, he started hunting on his own. So that's 3 years, 3 seasons. He's hunted on his own for deer. The other thing is, his father taught him to manage predators. Okay, now they're not into massacring predators or wiping predators out, but they understand that good wildlife management does involve the control of your predator species to keep a balance, to keep a healthy population. And reading up and looking into these guys, I have a lot of respect for them because they understand something that I'm always teaching people, that the antis, I'm always explaining to them, yes, but you've got to have the responsibility to control and manage, stop inbreeding, stop overpopulation, and so on, to keep healthy populations, not just in one species, but throughout all species. Okay, so again, well-founded, well-managed, well-experienced. Okay, he was an experienced hunter in both bow and rifle. He did, as I said, he did the predator control as part of his wildlife management. And again, I love it when people call it wildlife management because that's what it is. Okay, including the local coyotes. whilst out on a hunt one day, he was looking for large prey, so he's after deer, and he's driven out in his car and parked up in an area about 200 metres from his high seat, and he's using a high seat with straps to a tree to give him a downward shot over a set area for his deer management. And he's gone out and he's climbed into his seat. He's having a great day, sat up there and the rest of it. And as with any good hunter or any good outdoorsman, he's got out there, got himself settled, and he's relaxed. And he's now tuning in. His ears are picking up on nature. He's looking for scents, smells. He's scanning the environment. You know, hunters and good outdoorsmen don't focus. You literally relax your eyes and you let your eyes pick up on movement. And he's doing all this. And he hears noises, not normal noises that he's used to hearing. And he thinks to himself, well, been here a good 20 minutes. I'm just wondering if the pickup's all right. And he's a bit concerned, so he thinks to himself, I'm gonna climb down from the stand and walk back to my pickup. So this he does. He climbs down, starts walking back. I need to come back to that front section. So he's prepared for this short hunt, and he's heard somebody at his vehicle, and he's heading back to his vehicle. There we go, coming through his truck. And he's concerned, sorry, I'm going to scan through here, maybe interfering with his truck. So he climbs down from his high seat and goes to check his truck. As he walks his truck, he hears a sound behind him, right? And it's just a sudden sound, okay? And as he turns, he's hit in the chest by a coyote, okay? And this coyote has been stalking up on him, has picked up its speed, and it is leapt at him. It's an attack. Now, what he knows of coyotes is they usually attack large prey as a pack, okay? And their favoured methods of attack is one from behind and several from the side. So the prey can't get a standing fight. It's got to keep moving. And what they will do, they will dart in, they will bite, they will retreat, they will come in, they will bite, they will retreat. They'll do everything to keep the prey on the ground. And basically what they do is they bleed the animal out, they exhaust it. That, or if it's a large animal that's still moving, they will harass it for miles and miles and miles until the animal is weakened enough that they can bring it down. So he knows he's in a serious situation. He knows he's being attacked by a pack, not just one. However, this one knocks him to the ground and bites into his right arm, grabs his right arm, and hangs on. Okay, and as he's fallen, he's dropped his rifle. So whilst he's struggling with this one on his right arm, and he's dropped his rifle, he realises there's two more coming in from the side. So he starts punching and fighting back with his one free arm, his left arm, as hard as he can. And eventually, he manages to get it off. He tries to stand and is immediately brought down by one of the others coming in from his left. This one takes his left leg out from underneath him. Back on the ground, he managed to get hold of his rifle. He managed to slip off the safety and managed to get a quick shot at the two that were coming in from in front. Grazes one of these coyotes, which causes those two to leg it, but he's still got the one on his leg. Turns the rifle round and using it as a club starts to beat this animal. And eventually the animal lets go and it runs off. All this took no more than a minute and a half, but it's a hellish fight. You can imagine this thing. You know what these predators can do. You're a young man, you're 16, and you've been brought to the ground by a predatory species. That's got to be absolutely terrifying, because you know how efficient they are, and you know that they're quite tenacious. He manages to get to his feet, and you can still hear the coyotes in the woods moving and yapping and calling to one another. He assesses his injuries and knows to stand his ground as they will attack fleeing animals. Okay, they will harass him. So he's now got to put on the aggressor thing. He's got to do the bear thing, which is, come on then, whilst trying to retract himself from the situation. Yes, I know some people are going to be thinking, but he's got a rifle. Yes, he has got a rifle. It's a bolt action rifle. These animals are fast. You may get one shot off. The likelihood of hitting one of those things moving at speed is slim. And bear in mind, these animals, I mean, coyotes are not a big animal. It's 2 feet at the shoulder. Average weight is 25 pounds, but they can move up to 40 miles an hour. They're fast, they're agile, and his adrenaline's flowing. He's buzzing through him, which fight, it does help. He does a quick assessment of his injuries and realises although he's seen 3, there could be more, and that he's got to get to safety, because if it is a large pack and they decide to come in large numbers, he's pretty much stuffed. So he moves back to his vehicle slowly, steadily, with his rifle, constantly keeping his eye towards the majority of the noise and sound, trying to present a threat back to the pack. And as I say, standing at 2 foot tall and weighing only 25 pounds, these clever predators can move at 40 miles an hour. They move and work in packs like piranha. Okay, just for instance, for you, and I didn't know this until I started doing my research. In California alone, there have been 35 attacks. Okay, not having the size and power of other predators, they rely on fast attacks and retreats, giving multiple bites, weakening their prey by both exhaustion and blood loss. He managed eventually to back his way to his truck, which was only 200 meters, but this took time. All the time he could hear these coyotes moving in the brush line with him. Okay, so an attack was always a possibility, but eventually he made it. He called his dad on his cell phone, got into his truck, phoned his dad. Dad, been attacked by coyotes. Okay, and arrived home. When he arrived home, they checked his wounds. His father was a firefighter. We realised that his wounds, although not serious, were puncture wounds. He had puncture wounds in his arms and his leg, and this would lead to the most difficult part of this whole situation. He now had to be treated for rabies, okay, or have rabies treatment. And I can tell you from my research over the years, that's not something you want to go through. The rabies shots and the treatment for rabies is extremely painful. Okay, there's no two ways about it. It used to be given into the stomach, but now they give it around the sides of the wound. It's not something you ever want, I tell you. But still, he got over it, and lucky enough, didn't go down with rabies. Yeah, he still hunts in the same area, and as he said himself in the interview, I have a great deal of respect for all the wildlife and bear no animosity towards the coyotes. As he said in his statement, I bear no animosity towards the coyotes. After all, I'd stepped into their world. Okay, so that was just the short story of Jackson Jordan, 16 years old, attacked and harassed by coyotes whilst out hunting. So for us in the UK, coyotes, to me, they're like a big fox. However, with a bit more pack instinct and a bit more aggression. Not something I would fancy going up against.
So Lee Michael's got a cat attacking him.
Your cat does the same to you. He gets all his mates to come out and give him a hand. Right, I'm just going to go through there.
Yeah, of course he'd be poorly.
Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. He was attacked by coyotes. I know it's not the most terrifying or long story I've ever told, but again, it's the sort of thing that can happen to anybody in a hunting environment. And it doesn't have to necessarily be in countries and places that you would see a threat coming from. I've known places in the world and situations in the world in conflict situations where what were once domestic dogs are now living like that. They're working as packs. I'm pretty sure if you travelled Ukraine, there are plenty of plenty of people's pets that are having to survive on their own, and will form a pack quite naturally for their own protection. It's a horrible thing, but it happens. Yes.
Oh,
I've gone back to the boar thing. Right, I want to dive back to the beginning of that. Some information I had there, wasn't it, on coyotes? Yeah, pretty much as I said. Part of the wild coyotes, when hunting large prey, work as a pack, attacking usually from the side of the rear, like small wolves. They're a hyper-intelligent species that do not usually pose a threat to the human adult, but have been known to attack dogs and small children. They will pursue their prey for many hours and days if necessary, wearing it down and reducing its ability to defend itself. That's from your game and wildlife people in the States.
Have you heard of the Donna Parr story?
Yes, I have heard of the Donna Parr story. It was one I was looking at covering at a later date. I was actually looking at saving that one too. I mean, normally the stories I like to do in the winter when we've got the dark evenings here, I don't know, it just feels more right for me in those sort of situations. So I tend to, things like the Donna Pass, that's going to be quite a long-winded one. I'll probably take the best part of the 2 hours. But yeah, it's a great story. Yeah. We'll do, mate. We'll do. And again, getting back to this German lion, Das Lion. Okay, as a friend of mine said to me, it's a shame it wasn't a tiger. We could have sent over 3 Shermans. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Dear. For those of you that don't know your Second World War history, basically it was calculated it took 3 Sherman tanks to knock out 1 Tiger, usually with a loss of 2 of the Shermans. But hey, yeah, brave guys. Yeah, I'm not convinced. They see the German. I've written some notes down here for myself. Okay, so basically, the mayor's saying it was a wild boar, but yeah, the Guardian have a nice bit of video, and it's very, very short, but if you can manage to pause it towards the end of the video, you get quite a good silhouette and outline of the animal. And like I say, it may be just because I'm looking for it to be a cat that I see it as a cat, but we did a big cat video not long ago, and yes, quite possibly going to be doing the West Highland Way hike, but we won't be doing that till next year, mate.
But
we will be up in Scotland in September. October, sorry.
Near Crieff. Gateway to the Highlands.
Yeah, we will be up at the gateway to the Highlands. Because haggis season's opened. Matt's taking me up for the first day of haggis season, and obviously I'm taking the haggis gun with me. So it'll be my first haggis hunt. I can't wait. Yeah. And I think basically what the mayor's trying to do there. Yeah, I love the Highlands. I love Scotland altogether.
Not a lot of the Highlands we haven't been to.
Yeah.
We've been to quite a few of the islands around there as well.
Yeah.
Skye, Mull.
Yeah, and this week, let's get on to something else. I made some notes here. Right. So, yeah, guys, those of you that are outdoorsing, and those of you who do like your coffee, you saw it on the video this week. And again, these haven't been sent to me. It's not a promotional. It's not, there's no gifts involved or nothing like that. They've not even contacted me. All I did was send them an email back saying, bloody lovely stuff, guys. I've stuck it in a video. Okay, so Contact Coffee, Battle Prep, they're battle bags. Make sure if you're like me and you're going to be ordering it this way, order it as the battle bags, because then your coffee comes like that. And it is absolutely, it's a game changer. I love a filter coffee first thing in the morning. I love an espresso. I do like something to kick me in the arse to get me going. And these mean I can have a good quality filter coffee first thing in the morning, no harder than it is to make a normal coffee. So a little bit of luxury. And let's face it, when you're out there, especially if it's been a bit of a rough night, or you've just been bumped by the British Army and you need a bit of extra like that.
Dog Dad.
I think that would have been very apt for you, Dog Dad. Yeah.
Max says Red needs to come with a warning.
Yeah,
you suffered, Mac, didn't you?
I will say that the Red On is their strongest coffee. It's a 5 out of 5. I'm used to it because I quite like a strong coffee. But bloody hell, it kept Mac awake all night. The grey one, the Battle Prep, that's a 3 out of 5. That's what I normally drink through the day myself, rather than having to keep myself up all night. And again, it's that thing as well. If you're going to be putting yourself through it, use everything to your own advantage. So a good caffeine hit in the morning is it's going to wake you up, but it does help the body. It does help the body to re-energize. It's proven to actually help the recovery process, to the point where I know guys that train severely. I mean, these are guys, big weights, long distances, extreme tabbing and that, and they will have a coffee beforehand, not to keep them going whilst they're doing it, because it actually helps them, or helps the body's recovery process as they're going through it. It helps to chuck through all the bits and pieces that they need. Yeah, gives you energy, and it's a nice coffee. So good.
Well, Derek, my idea on that is a lot of ancient civilizations have depictions in pictures and carvings and that. I don't think we are alone in that.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think.
Mountain oysters.
Mountain oysters.
What's that?
Mountain oysters.
Yes. Is it yucky?
It's going to be something yucky, isn't it?
All right.
Now, I've eaten.
Lee, what is a mountain oyster, please?
I've eaten prairie oysters. I'm a good dairy farmer's son, so waste not, want not. I've done plenty of castration in my time. So, it's all protein. Oh, maybe that's the wrong way to say it. Yeah, I've had sheep balls.
Right,
yeah, no problem with them. Yeah, bit of butter, bit of salt, bit of pepper, frying pan. Yeah, lovely. Cut into slices about that thick, fried in butter. Yeah, I know a lot of guys find it a very difficult thing to eat, but
makes them wince a bit, doesn't it?
waste not, wash not. Yeah, definitely illegal now. Bushmills, a little bit of Bushmills on your prairie oysters. Oh yeah. Bloody hell. 59 cups of coffee a day.
Sam, you just put about 3 of those Red On. You got to try it. Yeah.
Yeah, if there's anybody who wants to try one of these bags, let me know and I'll send you one up. That's not a problem.
But we do not take any. We won't take any. What happens to you if you drink the Red On?
I have no responsibility if you drink that Red On. I will not be held liable.
Ask Mac from Hampshire.
I will not be held liable for heart palpitations, for seeing double, visions, or anything like that. Yeah, fucking hell. 50 cups a day. That mate. That will.
I like a good,
I like my coffee, but bloody hell, I couldn't do that. I mean, see, Lee Michael's got it. As a rule, people know me, know that what I tend to do, up until about 11 o'clock in the morning, I'll drink coffee. Love coffee. And then usually through the rest of the day, if I'm at home, I drink tea. Because I like tea, I find it more refreshing.
In the summer, I like to drink Red Bush and chamomile tea.
Yeah. Mate, put yourself off it, didn't you? Probably give yourself caffeine poisoning.
Yeah.
But as if I'm out and I'm in the boonies, my go-tos usually are instant coffees, which you've all seen before. New York coffee, that's quite a nice one. The coffee bags, if I'm feeling a little bit flush, and hot chocolate. Again, reason being, they're all simple drinks to make. I like my tea strong. I like my tea relatively sweet, and made with milk. And again, carrying that sort of all those ingredients with me, it's just it's the balls.
And my addiction, as you know, is Army ration hot chocolate.
Yes,
mint.
Caroline is addicted to the Army coffee, mint coffee. Or
Chocolate.
mint chocolate, sorry, I should say, in the ration packs. She absolutely adores that. In actual fact, it's been known to cause the occasional argument, especially when it comes down to the last pack and I want to take one away with me.
Ain't happening.
Yeah. So another thing I want to get into as well, which is a sore point. It comes back to hunting as well. Got a lot of people in the UK very anti-hunting because they haven't had it here as part of their lifestyle in a long time. But on my travels and that, I've met people that live a subsistence lifestyle. And by subsistence lifestyle, I mean that is they rely on things like hunting, foraging, and growing their own fruit and veg just to get by. That becomes part of their lifestyle. That's they don't have a Tesco's down the road that they can go to stock up on sausages. They rely on making their own sausages and taking their own meat. A chap I know who hunts, he's in Canada. Know him very, very well. I've known him for donkey's years. Actually think the world of the guy, and he reckons that 2 caribou keep his family going for a year. Okay, so again, he takes 2 animals, and that keeps his family in their main supply of meat for the year. He backs that up with things like salmon. He backs it up with small game when he needs to. But yeah, and again, as he says, a lot of their preservation techniques as well, like drying meat, smoking meat, and so on. They're old techniques, and it just proves that you can get by. You can live in those sort of environments. But as he says, it's subsistence living. So he still relies on things like medications. He still needs to get his hands on antibiotics from time to time. He still needs to be in touch with the modern world in some way. But it balances out. And I personally, if I could have my time over again, I think I'd rather live that lifestyle than the lifestyle that we live here today, isn't it?
Yeah. Sam, I drink hot chocolate all year round.
Yeah.
Not just hot for the winter.
No, she's hot all year round.
You're not 11 o'clock at night. Blimey, Derek.
Oh no, I've not seen Funky's last one. No. It's I'm paranoid prepper. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm getting a bit cheesed with some of this. I'm sick and tired of well, it's some of the guys out there, unfortunately, who have got shops and they've got businesses and that's going to be a nuclear attack. You all need this, and yeah, it's only trying to up their sales. You know, at the end of the day, we all know what's going wrong in the world. We can all see what's happening. We all know the risks that are out there against us all, whether it's EMP, whether it's a nuclear attack, whether it's a biological attack, chemical warfare attack, an earthquake, a tidal wave, a solar flare. We all know these risks are there. And every single one of us tries to put peace in our mind when they think about these subjects. But there are people out there that are just harping on and harping on and harping on because they're using fear to try and get you to watch their thing and buy their product. And my attitude to that is fuck them.
And every view is a view for them.
It's. I'm afraid I'm just. Yeah. No, exactly that, Lee Michael. When the shit hits the fan, it's just like it's going. If an end of world scenario was to occur tomorrow, most of the people that think they're prepared are just going to go into a panic state, right? I think all you can do is be pragmatic, honest, and sensible about these things. Yes, I believe in preparedness. Prepare for what you know you can deal with. You know, if you own a nuclear bunker, by all means, stock it out for 25 years. It's going to give you another 25 years. But to be honest with you, for the majority of us, yeah, we prepare for what we can see in the future, which is a tough winter, prices going up, stocking up on a bit of food just in case there's shortages or there's power cuts, making sure you've got energy, candles. Yeah, and then we will just deal with these situations as they occur. You know, it's yeah, just I know they've got businesses. I know that's how they make their money and that, but through fear just seems wrong to me. You know, don't play on people's fears. It's not right. Not unless you've got a genuine answer. Dog dad, exactly that.
Yeah.
I did an NBC course, which for those who don't know is nuclear, biological, chemical warfare course, which pretty much every British serviceman's done. And I had Mac will know, remember these guys because we were the same age. What I can refer to as the old school Cockney sergeant who basically, after we'd spent best part of a day building this trench and revetting it and putting a cover over it, that had to be a set depth because that protect you from radiation and all the rest of it. Turn around and say, "Oh, be honest with you, son. You'll be stood there in your trench. You'll see a flash on the horizon. At that point, drop your trousers, put your head between your legs, and kiss your ass goodbye." That's the truth of it. You know, if you survive something like that, it's because you're outside the zone. In which case, you have a good chance of surviving. If you're close enough to a target point, no matter what it is, forget it.
Right, Lee. I mean, that the toilet roll fiasco through the COVID, you would never have thought toilet roll would be the most important thing that everyone had to buy.
Oh, disaster, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. And let's face it, the only people that got anything out of that was the toilet roll companies. They were probably the only people whose shares actually worked out for them.
Our local Costco, the security had to help somebody away because they went in, bought loads of toilet rolls, and were trying to sell them for twice the price in the car park. And people were going to lynch him.
Yeah. It's you got to do what you can do. This week's video, what I'm hoping to do, I will never guarantee it because things do change. But what me and Mac are hoping to do, we're going to get out and do a hammock camp. We're going to show you, something we've not seen anybody else do. It's ground hammocks. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. See what you think. And I'm also going to do a little bit on fire extenders. Okay. Basically looking at what you can do to extend the initial start of your fire. I mean, you've all seen me. I'm in a great one for cotton wool balls and Vaseline. Absolutely brilliant. But I'm gonna have a look round, and that is all depending on whether we get this bit of rain to make the woods damp enough for me to risk having a fire up there, and in which case we will be doing all our brewing on an open fire, probably in the fire pit again because it's still summer. But yeah, wanted to cover that. So this week probably be tree hammocks, ground hammocks, top shelters, fire pit coffee, maybe cooking a bit of grub on the fire pit, and fire extenders. Like I say, methods for getting that point where you've got your spark, you've got your initial burn. How do you extend that initial burn, especially if you're on damp materials? I've not had a chance to see it yet. Derek, looking forward to seeing it though. Oppenheimer, yeah, looking forward to seeing that. We're also looking forward to seeing Barbie World.
Weirdo.
Am I not? Yeah, forget that. No, not. just I was listening to the radio this week. Listening to what I think it was Radio 4 or something, and they had their, what movies are out at the moment. They had the guy reviewing it, and I felt sorry for him because it's poor bloke. He's like, yeah. So this week I had to review Oppenheimer. Brilliant film. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was fantastic. Historically fantastic. Blah, 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 blah. And I said, you could hear the other presenter almost laughing. And he went, "Oh, what other movie did you review this week?" And he went, "Yeah, Barbie World." And what did you think of that? Oh, poor fucker. Come into work, the office. What movies am I reviewing this week, boss? Yeah, there you go. It's the tickets.
Different have been Paddington or something like that.
Hey, mate, it's fine. It'll be what it'll be. You never know. Might be quite good. Kaz brought me a book this week, which pleased me. Any of you that are science fiction fans, I started off at the age of 12 reading books by a writer called Isaac Asimov, because my mum had his collection of works, which everybody at the time said, "Oh, it's too much for a young kid like you," and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved science fiction ever since. And Kaz found me today, or this week, one of his early works, collection of short stories. Fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Made my day.
Lee, I won't make him go watch Barbie World because I wouldn't even watch it.
Yeah.
It's not my thing.
Yeah, we all. Right, so getting back
Guardians of
onto
the
this.
Galaxy, yeah.
Shit, if it's the fan situation, who would survive, who wouldn't survive? Well, it always comes back to the same thing for me. Survival. Okay, so the first thing in any survival situation, no matter what it is, be it an avalanche, be it a plane crash, be it a natural environmental situation, be it war, whatever it is, the first thing that comes into play for your survivor is purely luck. Okay? It is just luck. Are you in the right place at the right time, or are you not? Okay? Then beyond that comes mindset. Do you have the strength and the will to survive? Okay, do you have the strength and will to push yourself through the situation? Do you have the driving force and the energy, no matter how bleak the situation, to keep pushing forward? That's then topped off by your skill sets, which helps that mindset. Okay, and then on top of that, kit. And I'll be honest with you, in most of these situations, even if you've got a bag in the car and all the rest of it, in practicality, right, when you look at your bug out bag or your get home bag, okay, what does it have in it? Invariably, for most people, it's 48 hours. Okay, it's 48 hours of energy, resource, shelter, and fire to get you home. Okay, that's what it is. If it's got to push on beyond that, then you are purely coming down to your skill sets. And as I'm always saying, if you're going to go that far into skill sets, you forget everything you know of the modern world and go back to the 17 and 1800s or even earlier. Because our ancestors survived with none of the shit that we have today. Okay, they got by for thousands of years. Put yourself in that situation and use that knowledge. That's the stuff that's going to get you by. Fortunately, I think a lot of the, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. And if I offend anybody here, I'm sorry. It's not. This does not mean to be disrespectful at all. I meet a lot of people. I assist with a lot of training as part of me having the woods to use, and I meet a lot of fantasists. Okay, and I hear people that are going to do this and going to do that, and they're going to take over a military establishment, break into the armory, and equip themselves. And I'm like, really? Okay, yeah, that's going to work for you. And every now and again, I meet one that's actually got the head switched on. Yeah, growing food's difficult. Growing food is difficult, but it's also comes back to if you've got nothing else, subsistence farming and that it's being able to grow the right crops, but you're only ever one famine or one disaster away from starvation. But again, that's what our ancestors did. You know,
Local at the moment, we've got the old potato beetle around, haven't we?
Yeah, things like potato beetle, wireworm, all that sort of problems. It's spuds are easy. Yeah, again, grow spuds that gives you calories, but again, it's only got to be attacked by one pest, and you can lose most of your spuds. You know, so again, it's what can you do? Scavenge, salvage, grow, adapt, and that's it. It's
aggressively borrow.
Yeah, aggressively borrow, adapt to the situation, build a community, and work together. That's really the answer. As I said the other week, if you look at all societies throughout the world that are, and I hate the word primitive, so I tend to refer to them as indigenous or First Nations. In other words, peoples that are living in places like the rainforests, or they're living in way out in the back of Siberia, or up in Finland, or on small islands. Communities, they're survivors' communities. You have your hunters, you have your farmers, you have your harvesters, you have your whether it be a shaman or whether you just the bard, the storyteller, the guy to give entertainment, the guy to make those nights seem a little less bleak. You know, that's how society will survive. That's how it'll pull through.
That's a good idea. In the woods.
Yeah. Surprising what you can grow in the woods as well. It's surprising what you can grow on. I can't say it. Yeah, no, I can't say that. Get into trouble for that. It's surprising what you can find growing on open heathland moorland on MOD training areas. It's apple trees and peach trees and pear trees and all sorts of herbs, fruits, vegetables, all along. It's an interesting one. There's the old military railway line round there. Hi, FU crew. One of the places where I worked basically was a British Royal Engineers training camp for railways. So it's a massive area full of steam. Well, would have been steam, early diesel and early electric train lines, and that's where they trained the British Army for railway operations. And all the way around this, you can find wild strawberries, tomato plants that grew year after year after year, apple trees, pear trees, and that. And they were all along the railway lines. And I only figured out after a while that it's because the guys that were working on the railway and that would get their packed lunch, have a look, eat the apple down to the corn, chuck it off, or a bloody tomato, chuck that off. And these things have been growing in the same places for the last sort of 40, 50 years and growing naturally. They're literally seeding, dropping the fruit, the seeds growing, and that. The wild strawberries there. If you take any of your domestic strawberry plants, okay, and just plant them out in your lawn, guarantee you've got wild strawberries for the rest of your life. Some people don't like it to see, but I actually find in my lawn they mow down absolutely lovely, and every spring I let them come up. I let the grass get to about that long, and then by the time I've got to the end of April, I've got a mass of red out there, and there's just these tiny little, absolutely intensely favoured strawberries, and I just pop them all out, and once they're done, once their season's finished, cut the grass a little bit shorter. Um, yeah, Yeah, I can see that. Ah, so you're in Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. What do I know? Chicago. Yeah, I know Chicago's bloody cold. Yeah, you get some really rough winters out there. Really, really rough winters. Yeah, self-sufficiency. You can be self-sufficient if you've got the right environment, the right. Say self-sufficient. Say so. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to be self-sufficient. It's a case of you're working 24/7 and everything goes in hand with everything else. Your chickens become your pest destroyers. Their crap becomes fertilizer. The eggs, you manage the eggs. You've got to have a rooster. You know, you're breeding on your hens, so you're allowing some eggs to become fertilized. Yeah, you're rolling them through. Very, very rarely will you eat chicken, purely and simply because all the time producing eggs, then they're worth having. So by the time that they stop producing eggs, they're going to be a tough old bird. So that's a stew bird pot. You bring on some of the male birds, like some of the cocks, and they're pot birds. They were always pot birds when I was a boy. They'd be kept separate. And then basically brought on purely as the meat because you only wanted one rooster in with the in with the hens. As for what you can grow, depends on your environment, really, doesn't it? And your ability. Um, Coal fire, yeah, coal fire, and of course, Mac, you're going back to the days pre-double glazing, pre-insulation. Insulation, that was the tiles on the roof. I can remember waking up quite regularly as a nipper, going to look out my bedroom window, scraping the ice off the inside of the window so I could see whether it was frozen outside. And the ice on the inside was caused purely by the condensation caused by me and my brothers. Um, yeah, you say you're not growing enough. I think it's like us. We got literally a 10 foot by 10 foot garden, and so at the moment we've got two hangers with tomatoes in, which will keep us in tomatoes this year right through till probably October. You reckon?
Yeah, at least that.
End of October. And those that we don't use for that, we'll use for chutneys, and we'll make sauces and that with, and use them through the winter.
We've got beetroot that's come up from last year.
Yeah, got beetroot that's still going from last year. We've got peppers. Leeks. We've got a whole selection of herbs. So we don't grow a massive amount, but the way I look at it is every little bit you can grow
fresh
is a bonus. It's if you can, even if you can only grow one or two tomato plants, it's a satisfaction of doing it. It's also the fact that that's yeah, it's a small saving, but it's a saving. And you know where
it's good for you to get your hand in the soil. It's good for your own mental health, isn't it?
Use the copper wire idea to keep the slugs and snails off, don't you?
Yeah. Throw.
Yeah, throw. Got a next door neighbour. His garden's just a wild garden of grass. Doesn't do anything with it, and I'm cool with that. It's his garden, it's his space. He's happy with it. So forever picking up snails and launching them into his garden, help him keep his grass down. What do I do with my lighter? What do I do with my lighter?
Right.
There we go. Oh, there we go. It was hiding behind my cider. Ferry Bridge, Pontefract. Yeah, we can have chickens in the UK. Yeah, not an issue. Although at the moment, I think it's over at the moment. I think they were on about avian flu at one point, and if you kept chickens, you had to keep them indoors or keep them separate so they couldn't be in contact with wild birds. Yeah. I used to keep chickens all the time as a nipper. It was a mainstay. We probably had 10 or 15 chickens or hens at any one time. We had a rooster who was called Colonel, because he was a big old fucking thing that would kill anything. We used to breed and keep rabbits. We had ducks, geese. Mum basically had a garden. Our garden where I grew up was about 300 metres long, about 25 metres wide. Ended up in a copse and then went into the farmland from there. And that had everything in it. Soft fruits. She would grow strawberries, raspberries. She would grow peas, beans, potatoes. Prolific gardener. Absolutely, one of the earliest memories for me as a kid was seeing my mum out there with a fork, and it was quite heavy clay, and forking the clay over in the garden, mixing manure into it to try and break it down. And the manure of favour for us was from the chicken pen, and the chicken pen would get moved every 2 years, and then that ground that the chickens were on would be left. And that would be just left to sit for a year and a half for the manure to break down a bit, and then that would come in, and that would go in with any other composting that she had. For cooking, for me as a kid, we had a range, so we had basically a wood or multi-fuel burning range with a back boiler on it. So my mum cooked on that, which was absolutely brilliant for pressing my jeans, my 501s when I was a nipper. You know, just literally you could scrub them up, get them washed, lift up the plate on the front of the range, lay them out carefully. It was, used to get told off for that. Chickens are the future. Chickens fast to breed, fast to keep, high in protein. It's again, and it's the Indian jungle fowl. It's why it's worldwide, because it's easy food. Tell you another one that's a good one to look into: goats. Okay, you want a survival animal, get yourself goats. Okay, and I've got to admit they're a bugger to keep in. But you look at any third world society, you look at any third world country where resources are at a minimum, look at what their food sources are, look at what they use. And goats are one of the great survivors. They can keep going on almost nothing. They produce milk, and they produce milk readily. They breed easily. They're a source of meat. You can produce butter, you can produce cheese from them. So yeah, goats are a way to go. Rosemary, wonderful colds and flus. Goes in my family. Yeah, so that's, if I had to run to the hills tomorrow, that's one I'd look for. I would look to swipe myself some goats on my travels.
And a big old draft horse.
And a big old draft horse, yes. What would the honey badger do?
Whatever it fucking wants to do.
Whatever honey badger wants to do, yeah. That's what they need out there in Berlin, a honey badger. That'll soon fuck that lioness off. Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah. How I see it, yeah. If I had to move from here, if we had to move, come the scenario, should we just say the scenario? That's probably what I'd look at doing, is trying to get back to an agrarian lifestyle, find somewhere reasonably out the way with reasonable water source or water supply, where I could then set myself up with some goats, chickens, horses. I ride any. Well, so I ride. I haven't ridden for 30 years, but I bloody well know I could soon learn to ride again. Okay, and at the end of the day, let's face it, horses are fantastic, because a horse will always tell you if there's some bugger there, and if it won't work, you can eat it. Yeah, I tell you what, you say that, Lee. We've been noticing this all over the south of England now. We've got a couple of little parks around here, and they've got car parks. And what they've done is they've literally set up herbaries in the car parks. There's one. I fact we'll get out there. We'll do a video in the next couple of weeks. A short.
They got rosemary.
Me and Kaz will go out for a walk.
sunflowers,
I did it on one of my early videos, just when I was learning.
mint, sage. Actually, one of our local councillors is thinking about getting all our prickly
Sam,
bushes away.
You're lucky, mate. Badger's a wonderful animal. Wonderful animal. Yeah, there's quite a bit of World War II structures there. If you want us to get out there, Derek, and have a look for you, mate, we can go out and have a look. Me and Mac are quite happy to do that.
Strangely, me and Mitch were talking about that earlier. There's a statue that we visited a couple of years back. And it's to a bomber crew, isn't it? That, crashed.
In actual fact, later in the year, when we get down to Cornwall, me and Mac, we will go and visit somewhere called Davidstone Moor. Okay, and Davidstone Moor was the first landing point on the British mainland for a lot of the American bombers when they were flown over from the States. It was the first mainland landing point. So these poor lads had literally crossed the Atlantic and came into Cornwall. And yeah, it's got a hell of a history of place. So we'll get down there. You can still drive up and down the runways and see the old derelict control tower and that. All the dispersal bays are still there. It makes quite an interesting spot. We'll me and Mac see if we can get down there and do an overnighter down there. Might even be one where, in fact, me and Mac might just take off for a couple of days. And yeah, in fact, if you're up for that, Mac, how do you fancy just? It's going to be a mad one. We'll leave here one morning, drive down to Cornwall. We'll do an overnighter down on Davidstone Moor, and do a bit of a look round down there.
Sorry, I know a guy when it was in this country was stationed there.
Yeah, Nola Gay, when she came into the country, she was stationed down there for a while. Basically every bomber that came into the American fleet over here came that way. Yeah, we'll get some footage of it for you.
No surf canoeing. No canoeing.
No surf canoeing.
No fishing on out.
Oh, here we go.
Fishing,
I knew that would come up. Yeah. So Kaz is talking about the day when me, Mac, and another chap who won't be mentioned went beach casting down in Cornwall. Okay, so you've got to imagine a big cliff behind us. You come down a series of steps. It's a place called Bude. If you want to look it up on the internet, it's an absolute stunning place. One of my most favourite places in Cornwall. It is, as I remember Cornwall when I was a lad, it is still a lovely little holiday town.
Pool.
And it's got a natural swimming pool that is filled by the high tide. High tide just comes over the edge. But on the outside edge, the seaward side, there is a large rock which has a lifeguard station on it, which is basically just a metal fence. And I knew for a fact that this rock never goes underwater and gives you an absolutely brilliant point for casting into the surf, which is great for bass fishing and so on. So me, Mac, and this other chap are down there, and that we walked out, and of course we're like, no, I know it doesn't go underwater because you can see there's grass growing on it and all the rest of it. We can cast from there as the tide comes in, and we can even keep casting from there till after the tide's gone out. You know, it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Forgot the simple fact that tide turnaround is about 6 hours. So we actually ended up stood on this rock about 100 metres out to sea, fishing away quite happily for about 6 hours. Whilst I don't know how many there were people lying in the cliffs watching us. It was like, look at those idiots.
Waving pasties at them.
Yes. My wife and the partners of the group were sitting up there laughing their asses off, waving pasties at us, having cups of drink and the rest of it whilst we stood out there. And so, sod's law, within the first sort of 20 minutes of being out there, guess who managed to get his tobacco soaking wet? Yeah. So 6 hours without a smoke in quite a close confines. Me and Mac were all right. The other guy was just a bit too much to handle, really, in that situation. Yeah. But, but yeah, stunning place. We'll get some. There you go, Mac. That's what we'll do. We'll go down. We'll do an overnighter up on Davidstone Moor. We'll drop into Bube. We'll get a little bit of future around Bube. We'll go to the pasty shop, get our tea from there.
Yeah, of course, you've got American. You've got.
Yeah, and of course, around here, this is Aldershot. It's home of the British Army. It's the home of British military aviation with Farnborough. So it's basically if you had a relative who was sent here during the Second World War to serve, there's in all likelihood that at some point they would have come through Aldershot in some form or manner. No, can't get Cuban cigars in the UK unless you go up to places like Harrods and pay an absolute exorbitant amount, which is a pain in the arse. Every now and again, I'm very lucky. Well, used to be very lucky. I've lost a bit of contact at the moment, but I used to have a friend of mine that used to go out to Cuba, and I also had a couple of mates that would do contracts in places like Colombia and that. And so every now and again, they would bring me back a couple of Cuban cigars for me to enjoy. Yeah, you can get Churchills over here, which are, I'd say, a Cuban style cigar, but again, it's an exorbitant amount to pay for them. Absolutely ridiculous. Hence, I mean, for me, I mean, there are many. I can go to specialist cigar shops if I need to, but they cost a bloody fortune. So I tend to Henry Winterman's, half Coronas, and if I can find them, the full Coronas, because it's a nice cigar, it's smooth. Too right, mate. Too right, mate. It's nothing like a bit of a fishing trip every now and again. Good for you.
We've got the South Coast. We've got those big concrete blocks, haven't we, as well?
Yeah.
Around Climping and Little Hampton, that stop boats bringing stuff in. I can do it right now.
What's that? Oh, don't.
Hello.
Oh, and this is Kaz. For those of you who have not seen her before, this is Kaz. She's just got a bit of courage, so she comes on up here with me, helps me keep up with everything, and also she's monitoring on her phone. So when guys throw up a question or they want to know something, I quite often miss the.
Hence, you may hear the giggling that happens now and again.
Yeah. And she also is there to remind me when to behave. if I stray off subject or I start getting a bit silly. I tell you what, that was bloody cold, wasn't it?
Oh, so yeah, you went to do.
I would love to do that again. That was
50 quid, wasn't it, for a week?
50 quid for the week. That was. Oh, Rick, how you doing, mate? Hope you're good.
You know.
How's things going with you, my friend? And again, that's the other thing for us fishing in the UK. So you can fish and you can catch trout. You can fish for salmon. They're the fish that you're going to eat. But most other freshwater fish are protected species, i.e. you return them after catching them. Now, some people say to me, oh, that's pointless. However, the way I look at it is you're training. You're training for a survival situation, okay?
And when you put them back, the bigger the fish gets. You're putting
it back, bigger the fish gets. Do I need to eat the fish? Not really. So therefore, I'm just perfecting my skills if I ever needed them. It's
Oh, he said hello to me. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, she's the lovely one that's
I
let's
get
see.
shy. And don't laugh, Mac.
Yeah. So I'm 57 now. We met when we were 19, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she kept me on the straight and narrow all these years, Paul. Kept me under control.
That makes me sound like a...
No, I don't mean that.
Yeah.
You stop me getting carried away with myself from time to time. Stops me running off to the Ukraine and things like that. There you go. There's two of our guys that are fairly close to one another. Maybe you guys want to meet up for a brew sometime. Get to know one another. That would be absolutely awesome. And that's the idea of this social Sunday.
And
it's a way.
They're going to, hopefully, maybe next year, you'll
we'll
pop over for a few days.
So, Derek, me and Mac have been talking about this. See how things go, because we're pretty much in the same situation you are. In all honesty to you guys, I'm a full-time carer for my wife. So I live on a shoestring. I get a carer's allowance from the government, and the little bits and pieces that I get from my pension and that keep me going. So yeah, it is tight at times, but again, if you can help a mate out, you help a mate out. Me and Mac have talked about it, and it might be the cheapest flight we can possibly get over to the States as a return. Come over, have a bit of a wild camp, make a video together, have a laugh and a giggle, have a beer or two, and then fly back. It sounds crazy, but I've had stranger adventures as a smack. We've been known to drop hats at a moment's notice and go and do some pretty wild things. So you never know. If we can get into a situation where we can suddenly find a budget way of getting out there, we will do. But you might find it short notice. So if you ever get up one morning, mate, and you see these two sort of scruffy guys, each one with a backpack on, strolling up towards you, don't worry about it. We're pretty self-sufficient. Yeah, we do all sorts of strange things. Quite often at a drop of a hat. Been known to sort of just suddenly sit there.
Storm chase?
Yeah, it's got storm chasing, snow chasing, suddenly sitting there at the drop of a hat going, how do you fancy climbing the Welsh mountain? Yeah, sod it, why not?
For Perseoids?
Yeah, go camping in October and come back with giant teddy bears. Yeah, we've done some strange things in our time.
Yes, I remember. The gorilla? Yeah,
it was the gorilla, wasn't it? That was the gorilla. I still say the gorilla was just a way of... yeah, that was just a way of apologising. Yeah. God, dear, gotta have fun, haven't you? Well, that's it. My life has stabilised down a little bit now. The madness has stopped. 22 years ago. I was right. 22 years ago.
I suppose so. Because our sons are 35 and 32.
Yeah, Christ, 33. How time flies. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Cheers, Matt. You make me feel old now.
Bloody hell. Bloody hell. 22 years ago. Stabilised.
Medicated, minute.
I don't know about stabilised. Well, I think it's more realised, mate. Realised that we're not quite as capable as we used to be. Was that the night my tent took off? Yeah. Oh God, yeah, we've had some fun over the years, and we're still going to have fun. And that's the thing, guys. All right, get outside. Get outside. Mental health. It's being in nature. It's good for you. Having a walk. Even if you live in the middle of a city, get out for a walk occasionally. Okay. Gosh, yes, the same age now, actually. Yeah, blimey. Have those adventures. Just do those things. It's so easy to sit there and, especially today with technology, sit there and go, well, do I need to go and just do it for myself or see it for myself? I can see it on YouTube. I can watch somebody else go and put the effort in. But get out there. Don't let that old body freeze up on you. Don't let the mind tell you can't. Okay, you tell the mind when you've had enough. It's just so easy to lose it. I've done it myself over the last few months. I've gained a bit of weight. I cut back on the exercise, and I'm regretting it now. And I've realised that in the last week. It's just get out and do it. Sod it. It's yeah.
It's all right when you're going out when you're raining, you're waterproof.
Too right, Mac. We're going to be taking the granddaughters out. I mean, I've already been and had a look at the gun shop. Okay, and they do a little 22, little 22 life, and they do a pink one. You can guess what my granddaughter's getting for one of her birthdays. Yeah, that's actually rain or shine, sod it. I'm going to do it this week. Weather's not looking good this week for us up here or here. But me and Mac are getting out. If it's raining, it's raining. Sod it. I don't care. Need to get out and do something. The last 2 weeks have been quite stressful for me, quite hectic. A lot of admin and a lot of running around. A lot of running around, and I need to get out. I need a day or so out. Just not worrying about it.
You're recharging.
Sam, rain. My attitude to rain, and everybody's different. But I will tell you this much: I sat with a gentleman one day in the middle of an environment where it was absolutely pissing down. Okay, and I was moaning about the rain, and this old boy looked at me and he went, "That's the problem, you see, for you guys. You guys that come from the civilized world." He said, "The only reason you hate rain is because everybody's told you from the moment you're born, oh no, it's raining." He said, and it's purely a mental state. He said, if you accept the rain, you'll no longer be bothered by it. Now, I went on and had quite a long career working outdoors in all weathers and in all environments. And I adopted that guy's attitude, which was, fuck all I can do about it. It's raining, I'm going to get wet. It's a completely natural state.
Makes the trees grow, plants grow.
Look at it from its bonus side. Stop. Try and switch off the negative about it. All right, yeah, being wet can be uncomfortable, but you can dress for that. You can prepare for that, and sometimes defeating it. Sometimes getting the shelter up, getting the fire going, and beating the weather is the biggest victory you can have. When you're sat there thinking to yourself, you've got your shelter up, you're now dry, you're now comfortable, you've got a fire going, and you're sitting there thinking, blimey, how many blokes could have done that? How many people would have actually been able to get that fire going to that state and maintaining it and got to this point? If the world really did go to shit, okay, I'm going to be all right, because it doesn't matter what it throws at me, I can beat it, okay? Think of it that way, okay? It's very easy to go, oh, fucking raining, I'm not going out there, excuse my language, yeah? But sometimes just facing it, you suddenly realise it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. And there's nothing finer than Test your
Push
gear,
rain.
test yourself, test your ability. And I'll tell you what, and this sounds really weird, and I know some people are going to be, yeah, some people are going to look at me and go, "You're a weirdo." Okay, one of the finest things you can do, and something I got taught years ago, it's almost a form of meditation, is when you get those really stupidly hot, muggy days that descend into a thunderstorm. Okay, and I mean those where you've gone through weeks of absolute humidity and it's oppressive and your skin feels like it's coated with Vaseline and it just you can't get cool, and all of a sudden you get that monster thunderstorm breaks. Right, try this. Tear all your clothes off, go out, stand in that rain and just open your arms and shut your eyes and let your body feel every single impact of raindrops on you. It's like electricity. It's fantastic. It is so energizing. It brings so much life back into you.
Smells when it's been raining.
Oh, the smell. Yeah, summer rainstorm. When you smell it coming in the distance, and again, working in environments where it's extremely dry and hot, and you can smell that thunderstorm miles away because the wind is actually carrying the smell of the damp soil ahead of it by 20, 30 minutes. And all of a sudden you get that smell of damp soil and you're like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's going to break. It's, absolutely fantastic. Gorgeous
I
smell.
have issues with sleeping. So I often ask Alexa to play ambient sounds. And I love nothing better than the sound of rain, waves, wind and thunderstorms.
And Sam, but don't take me being negative. I'm not pointing a finger at you going, I'm just, I was the same once, and it's just a change of mindset, and that change of mindset, okay, mate, it's liberating in a way. It's anybody that suffers. So it's like anybody that suffers from any form of depression or illness that way. One of the things that happens to them is they get closed in by the negativity. It puts a wall up. It stops them from seeing it out. And if you can change the mindset on things like weather and that, it's another layer of the bricks that you've pulled down. And every layer of those bricks you can pull down, you're destroying that wall that's closing you in, and you're getting that chance to push out and push forward. And it's small victories, mate. Small victories, little baby steps, and then those little baby steps just keep carrying you forward, and that's so important. Carry yourself forward. And don't get me wrong, I sound like I'm in a perfect place. Oh, there's snow camping, cold weather camping. Cold weather camping. You get up in the morning and there's that frost, the ice on everything.
Sorry.
Won't be the first time, mate.
Yeah.
It goes to the street.
Yeah. Any excuse to streak. You're getting like bad girls.
It's the first step, and it is literally just mindset. It's mindset. It's from. I don't know about the rest of the world because I it's a British mindset of, oh fuck me, it's raining again. I'm not going out. Bloody weather. Right? Challenge the weather. Challenge it. Right. So you suffer with SAD. Okay. One of the most common problems in the UK. It's a form of depression caused by lack of light. Okay. So what do? We shut ourselves indoors. What we're not getting is the light, and it's the natural light you need. It's caused by a vitamin deficiency, and that vitamin deficiency is caused by the fact that you're not getting sunlight on your skin. And it doesn't have to be glaring bright blue sky sunlight, right? It has to be natural light. That natural light, I'm trying to think of the chemical reaction now. Vitamin D, okay? The UV in that light causes your body to use or to produce vitamin D. And that vitamin D is what causes SAD, the lack of vitamin D, because what do? We shut ourselves indoors, we're not exposed to UV light, and the vitamin D is not produced in the body. Now, if you suffer with SAD, the easiest treatment for SAD is quite easy, is to put yourself on a vitamin D supplement. Okay, now it's no good just taking a vitamin D supplement, because vitamin D will not process in the body without vitamin B12. Right, B12 is what helps your body to process and use all the vitamins and minerals that you receive. Okay, now you can either take a vitamin B12 supplement, yeah, it's man-made, okay, or the easiest thing to do, and I do this every single day without fail, all throughout the year, right, is I make a smoothie every morning for me and Caroline. We buy the cheapest fruit and veg we can. I mean, it's literally the stuff that's going out
Kale.
of date, right, the cheapest we can, right. I make a smoothie every day, and in that smoothie there is also a handful of kale. Okay, kale is a cabbage, it's a brassica, and it is full of B12. Okay, everybody says to me, oh, it's bloody horrible, cabbage in a smoothie. You don't taste it. The fruit takes away the flavour. Okay, chuck in a banana, thickens it up quite nice. And at this time of year, especially on hot days, I'll use a bit of frozen fruit and I'll throw that in there. And that makes a nice cold smoothie in the morning. We have a glass each. Okay, and then you end up with this gorgeous complexion like mine. Okay, and your body finds it easy to process vitamins and minerals, because one of the problems we have these days is people always say to you, take supplements, take these supplements, take these supplements, but without the B12 to go alongside it, your body can't process those supplements. So literally you're putting it in and it will go straight through your system without doing you any good. Okay. Okey-doke. So Sam, you're on vitamin D tablets. Are you taking B12? You need the B12 so your body can process the mineral. Otherwise it just flushes straight out through your kidneys. Now, I for years took supplements and supplements and supplements and couldn't figure out why they had no effect, or they didn't seem to have much effect. And it was only when I spoke to somebody that was a dietitian that really knew their stuff. He was, in actual fact, a very, very, very expensive dietitian. He really is high end. Lucky enough, he's a good friend of my son's. And I was chatting to him and I said, you know, I can't figure it out. I'm getting older. I take all these bloody supplements and they do a little bit, they just don't seem to do much. And he said, right, okay, what are you taking? And I went through a list of what I'm taking. He said, all right, what do you eat? I went through my diet and he went, you're not getting enough B12, mate. And I said, well, what? He said, B12. He said, vitamin B12, all right, is what allows your body to process all those minerals and supplements you're taking. Without those, you could eat all the all the oranges you want in the world. You could take all the vitamin C. You could take all the vitamin D. You could take all the iron, everything you want. But without enough B12 in your diet, you can't process it. He said, your body literally flushes it out. Dog Dad, take it easy, mate. Stay safe. Be good. Have your. There we go. Stumbling. Have your adventures, mate. Look forward to seeing you next video. Be good, be safe. So again, for any of you out there that's sort of thinking to yourself, my body's giving me a bit of grief. I mean, mine was through joint damage. I was taking supplements to try and help the joints because my shoulders are blown out. My C7, C8 vertebrae are all fractured, and when I say fractured, they're quite badly damaged. Lower spine damage as well. I got my right hip is knackered. Both knees are blown. Both ankles are blown. And as you can see on the joints of my fingers, the arthritis is getting going. I also suffer with it in the wrists. And you go, yeah, you need to take this, you need to take that, and it doesn't seem to work until you try something else. And again, as soon as I started, I took B12 supplements to start off with, and then I'm reading into it, and that I found that kale, cabbage was the best way of getting it. And now I quite like cabbage, but if you, like I say, kale in a smoothie, and you get into the regime around with smoothies, it knocks out breakfast. Bloody good. bloody good that was. Now, instead of looking forward to getting up and having a couple of slices of bacon, a fried egg, and some toast,
Yeah,
I look
smoothie.
forward to having my smoothie.
Tomorrow we've got fresh blueberries out of the garden
Oh,
in our
fresh.
smoothie.
Yeah, fresh brewed blueberries tomorrow off my blueberry bush. Victory! I have blueberries. The birds didn't get to them this year. So that will go into the smoothie. Little victories. Little victories. Yeah. So, and all I got to make smoothie, I've just got this little tiny, cheap, and it is cheap, dirt cheap, little blender thing. And it just all goes in that. No ice. Just give you a simple idea how I do handful measurements. So it's a handful of kale. It's a little bit of turmeric for arthritis for Kaz and me. It's a little bit of cinnamon.
Fresh ginger.
Okay. A little bit of fresh ginger, just a little tiny piece of fresh ginger. Handful of frozen veg because the weather's warm at the moment, or frozen fruit, sorry. And it could be any frozen fruits you like, whatever's cheapest, and that's how I buy it. I go in and go, what's the cheapest? Buy the cheapest.
Fruit.
Any fresh fruit that is cheap. If you can find them, bananas, a single banana in there just helps thicken it up, makes it that little bit more, how can I put it, smoothie-ish. Yeah.
Melon, kiwi.
And if you can't get banana, I find apple works quite well. Things like melon can go in, anything goes in there. But it's literally a handful of everything until it's filled to the top. Then I fill it 1/3 with water. Okay. If when I try it, I find it's a little bit bland, then just a little bit of cordial in it, whether it be barley water or whatever, and that just picks it up. In the winter, if I'm lacking energy, I'll put a spoonful of honey in it as well, and just blend it up with that. Yeah, I guarantee you, mate, what's happening because you're not getting enough B12. Your body's not able to process it properly. If you up your B12 levels, right, you'll probably find that all those minerals and vitamins will actually work a lot better for you. And you've got nothing to lose. One bag of curly kale does me and Kaz for the week.
I'm sure it's about 60p.
Yeah. Oh, local honey, yeah. Or any honey. If you can find it, and it's bloody expensive, one of the best natural antibiotics on the planet is Manuka honey. The Manuka plant grows naturally in New Zealand, and for a long time they couldn't figure out why the Maoris weren't affected by certain illnesses. And when they caught certain illnesses that the Europeans caught, the Maoris got over it, and the Europeans were pretty much killed by it. And it turned out it was because part of their regular diet was honey, and that honey was collected, or the bees collected the pollen from the Manuka plant, and it's a very, very highly antibiotic. What would you call it? Antibiotic nectar. That's it. And of course, the bees process it. Now, honey is naturally antibiotic anyhow, and it's antiviral. Okay. So the wonderful thing with honey is, and I mean, I wouldn't want to be the guy that did it, but they've taken honey that was stored in pots in Egyptian tombs, opened the tombs or opened the pots, and the honey in there is still usable even today. That's, so we're talking centuries later, that honey is still usable. It doesn't go off. People say, oh, my honey's gone a bit granulated. That's fine. Not a problem at all. Great for burns. Great sugar source. Great for making alcohol, homemade alcohol.
Mead. Oh.
Yeah. Honey is expensive. Okay. And it is expensive because it's...
A lot of the honey you get in the shops isn't actually honey, it's more syrup.
Yeah. So the honey producer, the actual guy with the hives and that, invests a huge amount of time in actually looking after his bees and that, people always think it's quite a simple thing. I've got friends that are beekeepers or aperists, and I always thought, put a box out in the field, bees do their thing, collect the honey. It's not quite as simple as that. A lot of the time they end up having to pay for where they're putting their beehives, unless they've got a farmer that wants to pollinate certain crops. The other thing is then you've got to be able to sterilise all your jars and that. You've got to overwinter your bees.
The bees can get little bugs as well, can't they? That
and there are diseases that will wipe out your hive in days. So it's quite a difficult thing, and there's a few people doing it. But again, it's also something that's actually you take it up yourself. To be honest with you, it's not a hard thing. I've got a bee's nest in my forge. It comes every single year. I get a bee's nest in my forge. That's why you don't see me doing any blacksmithing in the summer. Okay, and they nest underneath my anvil. And that's the reason I won't use it, because I'm going to be striking the anvil, and I know that will ruin it for the bees. I don't dig them out for honey. They're white-tailed bumblebees. They come in, or they start acting up about April, and they will be buzzing in and out there right through to early September. And they are no problem to me at all. Do you know what? People say to me, how do you manage with a bee's nest? Now, I'm in and out there all the time. They don't mind me. I don't mind them. Yeah, Manuka honey. If you want something to buy and put in your medicine cabinet as a natural antibiotic, buy it. It's expensive, but I guarantee you it works. It's fantastic. Maple syrup. Oh, yeah, I love a bit of maple syrup. Yeah, you've got to make sure it's a proper Manuka honey. Yeah, but the problem is supermarket honey is diluted, and it is diluted. As Lee said, it's diluted with things like maple syrup and that. It's also diluted with golden syrup, which is makes me laugh. Golden syrup, which is a byproduct of making sugar, which for many years was just tipped away and as a waste product, until the people in the sugar factories realised that a lot of their staff were actually scraping this stuff up and taking it home and using it for cooking and other things. And then all of a sudden, golden syrup becomes stupidly expensive.
If you took a in shop built, if you took your 79p jar and then you took one that's about £5, and you would taste the difference amazingly. But the thing is, the jars do last a long time. So yes, it's expensive, but it sort of levels itself back out.
Well, that's it. If you've got good quality honey, you need so little of it. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's such a strong flavour. Really, really good quality honey. You use literally a tenth the amount. It's like how would you put it? It's like herbs and spices, isn't it? Really good quality spices. Like
turmeric
cinnamon.
is mostly dust.
Yeah, turmeric's mostly dust. if you pay the extra to get the good quality stuff, and you find you need so little to actually make it go further. Yes, supermarket Manuka is mixed, and it comes in a percentage. So you get, they reckon that the best percentage you'll get in the UK is normally about 30%, and that's stupidly expensive, and you'll get that from places like Barrett's. However, it's very hard to get it in the UK at the moment, and the reason being is the Chinese government is buying up all the Manuka honey that they can from New Zealand and stockpiling it.
Yes, Matt, you might be right about the
They've been doing that for about 5 years.
The honey dealers. Mitch once told a lady that she wanted to know how come honey was so expensive, and he says it's because you've got very little fingers to milk the bees.
It is. It's a known fact. Okay, keeping bees is hard work. You've got to milk every single one of those bees twice a day. You got to be there with them little tiny tweezers, very gently on their udders like that. Just don't tweak too much, and that's it. That bee's its udders are useless. Takes hours, patience. Well, it's what you got to do. Milking bees, eh? Love bees. I like wasps as well. A lot of people I know don't like wasps, and I understand that.
I like
But
wasps.
when you understand the simple thing with a wasp is a predatory hunter. They hunt flies, they hunt mosquitoes, and they are the biggest killer of mosquitoes on the planet. They hunt on the wing, catch their prey,
We hate hornets.
and eat it. Yeah, hornets, on the other hand, yeah, they have no sympathy whatsoever. But yeah, even wasps have their place in nature. And to be honest with you, I'd rather be stung by a wasp than a bee. At least it's a what I call a clean sting. It doesn't leave its little arse in my arm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, yes. So getting the good quality stuff is hard. And again, getting Manuka plants into the UK is almost impossible. Because people have often said to me, well, then why don't we grow Manuka here? And you think about it, if you had a greenhouse, a big greenhouse, and you just have Manuka in it, and you put a hive in there, bees are going to live quite happily, and you can keep them away from hornets and that. They can then harvest off the Manuka, and you can be producing 100% Manuka honey. No, you can't, because the New Zealand government won't allow the export of Manuka plants. They know they're onto a good thing there.
So we can't get white sage over here.
Yeah, it's not white sage, yeah. So me and Kaz use sage
for
smudging over here. As you're all aware, I follow a druidic path, and we use sage in ceremonies here. But I have to order my sage from the States and get it sent over. And again, it's a wonderful plant. It's so many medicinal usage. It's naturally antibiotic. It's naturally antiviral. It relaxes the human body. It's been used by First Nations peoples for thousands and thousands of years for both religious and medicinal purposes. Absolutely fantastic. So again, when I get out to the States, don't wonder what I'm doing if I'm off sort of picking white sage and sniffing it, because it's wonderful. Yeah, probably is. Probably is, because it probably reliant on the New Zealand climate. But then, sort of, I think with a bit of effort, pretty much any plant can be.
Oh, sage and onion
Sage
stuffing.
and onion stuffing.
Oh, you're talking now, Lee.
Yeah, it's probably down to the environment, Mac. Probably down to their environment.
But Lee, do you have sage and onion stuffing with all your roasts? I have it with everything.
Yeah, Kaz has sage and onion stuffing with everything: chicken, lamb, beef,
and mint sauce.
Everything, and mint sauce on absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Any roast,
Yep.
She puts mint sauce on.
Duck, pheasant, venison.
Duck, mint sauce on duck, pheasant, partridge, quail. You name it, it's got mint sauce on it. My son Chris is the same as well. In fact, you want to drop cider?
Have a little bit, thank you very much. I'll have a little bit. Oh, blimey, that's a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Carrot drunk. Yeah, my son's the same. He'll slap mint sauce on almost anything. Yeah, they still won't allow. I know a friend of mine, Pete, he goes out to New Zealand, and he was saying that they won't allow it. Well, you can't bring the plants over or anything.
South Africans.
Chicken. Love a bit of chicken. In fact,
I like gammon, but it has to be roasted gammon. I don't do boiled gammon.
no, you don't like boiled gammon, do you? No. Oh.
That been over for a long time. Guinea fowl.
Guinea fowl, yeah. I like big guinea fowl. Yeah. Guinea fowl don't bloody dodos are. I got attacked by a flock of guinea fowl trying to help them. They're like bloody ninjas, bloody things. I'm driving down a local country lane, 5:30 in the morning, and there's a circle of grey stood in the middle of the road, and it's all these guinea fowl, and they're all stood in a big clump. And I'm driving a Land Rover, it's just getting light, and I'm coming down the road, and I'm thinking, that's bloody weird. So as I sort of slowed down. I don't kill anything for no reason. So I slowed down, flashed the lights, toot the horn, flash the lights, toot the horn, and these things just all stood there in a circle, staring at something in the road. So, oh God, I'll move them on. So I get out and go on, fuck off, go away. And they all move away a little bit. And then in the middle, in the centre of the road, that they're all stood round, is a dead guinea fowl. Obviously been walloped by a car. And I thought, oh, that's a shame. And the thought hit me, in a way, that's quite sad. They're all stood there looking at one of their own dead in the road. Funny thing, what if birds have emotions like we do? And here, I'll chuck it over the hedge and they can all go stand round it in the field. And I picked this dead guinea fowl up by its feet. And as soon as I picked it up, the bastards attacked me. And I kid you not, there's about 20 of these things. They're leaping at me, they're clawing at me, they're trying to hit me with their spurs, pecking at me, flapping at me. And then I threw him over the hedge. And they still wouldn't stop their attack. I had to walk back I literally was like booting them off. Get off, you stupid bloody things. Got back to my Land Rover and drove off. And I've sworn ever since then, I ever see a flock of guinea fowl stood in the road, I'm not braking. That's it. I'm not stopping. They're just bloody aggressive things. Wood pigeon. Oh, I love a bit of wood pigeon. Wild boar. Yeah,
Woodcock.
We like a bit of wild boar. Woodcock, yeah. Although they're getting quite rare now, so we don't shoot those anymore. Hog roast and broccoli chips.
I've never had a hog roast. Never had a hog roast, ever.
Is there anything anybody wouldn't eat? Whether it be through a personal moral opinion or a dislike?
We watched that programme earlier. I would have eaten that wolf.
Yeah.
I would have eaten that wolf.
Yeah, I think they did as well. And got them through a few days. It's a canine at the end of the day. Many nations eat canines. So, it was, again, that program I was telling you about earlier on YouTube dropped. One of the guys was moving through brush, and he was actually. I don't know whether the wolf attacked him or whether it was just one of those unlucky moments where it was there, he was there. The wolf stood up in a hurry, but the guy literally turned, bang, shot it one shot, killed it, stone dead. And then they showed that they were skinning it. I don't know whether they were just taking skin, but they were in a survival situation. So personally, yes, I would have eaten it. Yeah, I do know they don't taste particularly nice. Most of the canines are quite potent in smell. But again, it's protein. So you're either taking it rather than waste it, especially if you've killed something. Simple rule of mine, I don't kill anything these days that I'm not intending to eat unless it is a vermin control situation. Hi, Few. Sorry, here you're talking to a Cornishman here. So I grew up with pilchards, mate. I've made many person heave with my pilchards on toast recipe, but they're olives. Yeah, I'm not keen on olives myself. Yeah.
I don't like white bait.
Yeah. Oh, I love haggis. Yeah. Do like a bit of haggis. Raw liver, I'm not so keen on. I do like it cooked, though. I do like the liver. Same thing with kidneys. I don't do raw kidneys, but I don't mind them cooked. Yeah. I'm not overly keen. I love the taste of pork. I'm not overly keen on the smell of cooking pork. It's the smell that actually puts me off. But that's an experience from a long time ago.
Oh, Mitch eats roll mops.
Oh yeah, I just love roll mops. just yeah. So it goes back to that Cornish thing: fresh fish, herring.
I don't like anchovies either.
Anchovies, bit salty for me. Yeah, olives on pizza.
I like kangaroo.
Oh, so here's the eternal question, okay? There's the eternal question for you. This is the one. Pineapple on pizza.
No.
What's your opinion?
Yeah, I don't. I'm so with you. Anything fishy fish, I don't like it.
Oh. Yeah, pineapple on pizza. That's the eternal question. Is it right or is it wrong?
I saw one yesterday advertised. It was a Nutella pizza. Yeah, it's pizza based with Nutella and chocolate chips.
Oh, sweet pizza. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, no to pineapple either. Yeah.
Why would you want sweet in that on
pickled eggs? There's. See, I like pickled eggs. It's just, yeah.
But would you, for a bet, eat that rotten fish that's in a tin?
Oh, surströmming.
Yeah.
I've done it. Yeah, surströmming. Yeah. If you can get past the smell, if you can block your nose, the taste isn't that bad. But the smell's fucking awful.
It's like the Marmite. Who eats Marmite? Isn't it? You either love it or you hate it.
I
actually love it.
Yeah. It's lovers and haters. What did we try most since over years? We've even eaten whale. So.
Yeah, I thought I'd never eat. I had whale salami. We went in Norway, didn't we?
Yeah.
Wasn't it what I was expecting? I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love a pickled egg. I've even been known to drink pickled egg juice.
I actually I bought some loaf. It was a cheese and Marmite loaf, wasn't it? Had cheese and Marmite on the top before it was baked.
Bovril. Oh, I do like a Bovril. Oh, just Bovril.
I wonder if Hang Tough gets into that sort of thing.
Bovril and Oxos. Oxos crumbled into a mug. Or army mug, 2 Oxo cubes, a little salt sachet, a little pepper sachet, boiling water, half fill it, stir it, just sit there with it like that. Oh, Jesus. That on a cold day is just. Marmite Great Sauce B12. Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, got to get that B12 into you.
Right, partial to Marmite rice cakes.
Gherkins. Oh, yeah, you're talking. Love a gherkin. Love a gherkin.
Brie cheese, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, Kaz. Yeah, Hang Tough. Derek, that's it. You've got my wife listening there. Her ears are pricked up. Brie. She loves a bit of brie.
I do like Camazola as well, which is the brie one.
Brie and Camazola, yeah. Me, yeah.
I love cheese.
Yeah,
I love cheese balls.
We both like cheese. I like a blue cheese, don't I?
Yep.
But it's got to be a soft blue cheese. Kaz likes a French cheeses.
but I've also got you addicted to the
Do like a strong
mature
cheese.
red Leicester.
Yeah, Kaz has switched. I used to be a strong cheddar man, and she's now got me on strong red Leicester, which I
Red Fox,
gotta
isn't
like.
it? Mm.
Yes, yes, yeah, I do like good cheese. How is it to get cheese out there, Derek? Do you get much in the way of the sort of like European style cheeses, or because again something we don't every sort of program I watch in the States, they don't really sort of when they talk about cheese, it's invariably that sort of American
toasted gherkin sarnie.
cheese and that toasted gherkin sarnie.
I like a fried onion sandwich.
Oh, Fox is upsetting the neighbour's dog again.
They fly out their front and go, "Where you fed me?"
Danish blue. Oh
yes.
yeah, now you're talking Danish blue. Danish
or
blue.
Rockford.
Danish blue. A simple cracker. A little bit Danish blue. Half a grape. Oh, lovely. Lovely.
Like that too.
Lovely. Saint-Agur, yeah, that's another one I quite like. Look at those glasses fixed. Should pinch my nose. Yeah, Saint-Agur, do like that. And again, for any of our foreign viewers, I'm sorry, it's an English pastime food. There's three conversations that tend to occur in Britain. It's like, what's the weather doing? Okay. What's your favourite biscuit? And cheese, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Especially if you're in the military. Now, see, I can put the question up here to anybody military, and I pretty much know what the answer's going to be, right? And that is, if you were in the shit, right, with somebody, and you're in the military, what is the best biscuits to take as a way of saying sorry? What pack of biscuits left on their desk is going to get you out the poo 9 times out of 10? Now, depending on your age, it will either come back as chocolate digestives or chocolate hobnobs. Cheese on toast with a bit of Stilton. Oh, yes. Oh, cheese and bacon sarnie. Oh, toasted sarnie. AP1s. As you get marched out of my office, you come walking in trying to apologise with a pack of AB1s. Nope. Chocky hobnobs all the way. It's the last, or probably the last, from about 2000, it become pretty much, yeah, a standard apology in the military. Right? Anytime somebody dropped a bollock with me, and it would be like, they knew the way to get out of it was to come in, walk in. Sorry, I put a packet of chocolate hobnobs on the desk. I'll be like, no, punishment's paid. Fuck off. No, off you fuck.
You like those Fig Newtons though, don't you?
Fig Newtons, yeah. Can't get them anymore though, can we? Meatloaf, ribs, pork chops. Oh, yes. Can't go wrong with any of those. Do love a meatloaf. Ribs. Can't go wrong with ribs. Pork chops. Yeah. Got to be a good thick pork chop though. Oh, yeah. Belly pork as well. With the skin on.
You've got some belly pork.
And it's got to be cooked until that skin's turned crackling. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Do like a bit of pork crackling. Surf and turf, clam chowder. Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah, go with that. In fact, I think me and Mac both quite happy surf and turf guys. Yeah, I do like surf and turf. So that's what I'm going to have to do when I come out to the States. When I come out to you, we're going to have to go for a surf and turf. I've got to try some of these American-sized steaks. Range stew. Oh, well, see, range stew. Yeah, there's range stew and then there's range stew. Okay, there's range stew with sweet corn or range stew without sweet corn. That's, for me, I'll go either way, but I do like a bit of sweet corn in it. Jace, who's not with us tonight. I mean, he's an ex-military chef, and he said to me, he said, you all call it range stew. He said, but in the kitchens we called it all in. He said, he said basically it was grab the biggest pan you can and undo every single tin that was on the shelf and slap it in. He said, so the chefs would just call it all in stew because it was literally everything you had. Bacon butties in the woods. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Those little lovely yellow pieces of delight. And then of course, for the British Army, from a hot box, you'd have other delights like curry, yeah, corned beef hash,
Yeah, I like corned beef hash.
chili and rice. Worst thing I ever had brought out to me in a hot box. That was on a range, funny enough. It was the most hideous thing that I'd ever had served up to me. Was they brought out fish and chips to the guys. Somebody in their great mind had thought in the cookhouse, we'll make them fish and chips. They'll love that. So for those of you that aren't forces or ex-forces, basically hot box, big plastic box, insulated, big thermal box. I say big, it's not big enough. And then in that, it just went in and it kept it reasonably warm until it could be served up. But as soon as you broke the lid, you broke the seal on the lid, it started cooling. So basically, you wanted to be first in on the scoff. And this fish and chips was served to us. So basically, the little polystyrene trays that you get, they'd put the fish on the tray first, they'd put the chips on top of it, and then they'd wrap the whole thing in cellophane. And that was put in the box and brought out to us. And that sat, we didn't even know what was in it. And that sat on the range for about 4 hours before we got to it. So by the time we opened it up for our evening meal, it was soggy and it was lukewarm, and it was the most, the batter had literally dripped off the fish. It was disgusting. It was the worst thing I've ever eaten. Curried everything.
Oh yeah, fish and chips.
I love fish and chips, but not like a fricadelle. Fricks. Tomato and curry sauce. Yes. Oh, or bratties. Bratwurst.
We have to take them to the woods, will you?
Yeah, we'll have to do it. We'll have to do it, Matt. We'll have to do a bratty out to the woods. Deep dish Chicago pizzas. Yeah, but the thing is, your deep dish Chicago pizzas over there compared to what we can get here, it's probably completely different. Yeah. Yeah, Kaz lots of calzone. Oh. 2 hours and 18 minutes. It's been a good night tonight. It always descends into a natter about food, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's face it, survival. So what's survival about? Shelter, fire, food, water.
Well, that's what Jason was doing, Lee. He's got Hampshire outdoors kitchen. Lee.
Yeah. Now for years, I actually I used to look at people on TV and they would go, and I'm no disrespect again, and they'd say, gravy and biscuits in the States, and I didn't get it. And I was like, I don't get it. And I actually watched somebody the other day making in the States gravy and biscuits, and they actually showed how they made it. And I didn't realise it was basically what we would call a sausage meat gravy over here, or sausage gravy. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I've got to try that. That's one I've got to try. I did try grits once, and I was like, fuck that. Food, glorious food. Let's face it, it's a survival thing. So what's man done since time immemorial? What's the one thing man's always shared, man's always taken pleasure from, okay, or the human race? It's food. If you wanted to judge how the human race evolved, right, look at the food that we've eaten throughout the centuries. Look at the time and the effort that's gone into preparing it, making it taste nice. It's one thing that unites us all. We all must eat. The nice thing and the interesting thing is how diets and flavours change around the world. So
It's like we have
it's
American
not,
stuff, American
yeah,
English.
it's not a
Chinese.
universal. Water is a universal. I can take water here. I can take water in the Andes. I can take water in the Sahara. I can take water in the Antarctic. Water is water is water. It's all pretty much the same. Food, right? Food is something that brings peace. Food that is shared, right, can bring peace. You break bread, okay? Food can be something religious. Food can be something sacred. Food can be something that is shared by lovers. So yeah, it's one of those pleasures in life that every single one of us gets to enjoy. There's nothing finer than sharing a meal with somebody else.
Celebrations.
Okay? Celebrations, so on. So again, we come back to food, but food is essential. It can make peace, it can make love, it can make anger, it can make rage. You've only got to go to Devon and Cornwall and discuss cream teas, and there's riots going on in the streets. I mean, we yeah, fondue. Oh yeah, nothing like a bit of fondue. You got to watch. Got to watch the old beard though with the fondue, because I tell you, you don't make a mess when you wake up in the morning. It's all stuck and dribbled down your beard. And again, beards. The beards, great way of storing food. Yeah, many a time I've sucked on my beard and tasted something I've eaten the night before. Yes. Many a time. Yeah.
That's great. I'll kiss you and you've got half your dinner in your face.
Yeah, can't be the worst toilet incident in the world.
Sorry, Sam.
Sorry, Sam. Yeah, but it's food, isn't it? It's a universal. It's a universal pleasure.
I like those. Is it Trizia? You know the long like donut thing they cut into slices. You have that with a
Yes, Mac. What's the time out there, Derek? Is it nearly munching time? We are running at, here in the UK, we are now at 22:18.
Pot roast.
Pot roast, yeah. Yeah, she does. She does. Yeah. I'm a lucky man there. 2:18 p.m. Not too bad. So you're coming into mid-afternoon. 94 degrees.
Bloody hell!
Jesus.
I think it's about
94. That's
16 here, isn't it?
Yeah, we're about 16 degrees here. So yeah, obviously. Yeah, not nice. Churros.
That's it,
yeah. Yeah, Derek, fucking 94 degrees. That's merciless. That is. I hope you've got somewhere shady, mate. I'm hoping you're able to get cool. I know your situation, and I'm hoping desperately you have somewhere keeping cool and keeping hydrated. That's got me a bit worried for you out there now. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I agree, mate. That's
hot.
a bit worried for Derek. That's, I'm just waiting here, watching, seeing, just want to make sure Derek is going to be all right. That's all good. Thank fuck for that. Yeah. You watch that heat, mate. That's a bastard.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts and prayers go out to Derek. Hopefully, it's going to cool down a bit out there for him. That he's going to be safe and good.
In the best place, though, on the trees for the shade, the breeze and that.
But then, isn't that the truth? See, there you go. There's a man that understands. I just got beer. That's it, mate. Sit back and let it drift by. And that's the art of survival, my friend. That is the art of survival. When everybody else is sitting there moaning about the heat and not getting to the shade. No, Mac, I don't think he is ex-military. I think he's just a man that's switched on. Although I think there's a little something there. There's some sort of experience. So he might have been in one of our worlds at some time or other. Oh, my beard's gone all wonky.
Stop playing with your beard.
Gonna have to go see the hairdresser again, aren't
I?
I was looking at it today and I was thinking, oh,
hot
it's
towel
growing a bit
and
quick. Yeah.
oil and it's pampering.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, security contractor.
Mm.
Yeah. Mate, not a problem. Both me and Mac are ex-military, but we both worked as security contractors in our time as well. So, yeah, you pick up the abilities, the skill sets and that. Yeah. Yeah. We're the hidden people, eh, Mac? Yeah. The government doesn't want to do anything and the public don't want to know. Yeah, we've been listening to that last couple of weeks, haven't we? Yeah. Somebody turned around the other day and they went, oh, it's all right for them in Spain. It's 45 degrees. I wish it was 45 degrees here. And, I just wanted to punch him on the nose. Don't want it 45 degrees here. You don't want it that hot. It's bloody horrible. You can't work in it. You can't do anything in it.
If the road's melting.
That's the other thing, Mac. When we go out and see Derek, the other bonus is he's a firearms instructor. So we'll have to go out. We'll have to see if we can book a day on the range and go back through some of our old skills again. Well done, mate. Well done, mate. Well, there's many people out there with much experience. Anyhow, guys, excuse me, I only banged my head on the camera then. I'm just looking at the clock. We're at 2 minutes and 28, so that's one of our longest yet. I'm going to call it quits in a minute, I think, because I've got to be up in the morning. Yeah,
cheese on toast now.
I'll take the cold. You cheese on toast. Yeah, let's say cheese on toast. I'll take the cold over the heat any day, purely and simply because I can put more clothes on. But I take that many clothes off until I'm naked.
There we go, streaking
people's-
again.
Oh, sweet. Oh, that would be nice. It'd be nice. I mean, it's been a few years now. It'd be not interesting. Oh, Chinese.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am going to make me and Caroline cheese on toast, or as you say in the States, grilled cheese sandwich. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. So Derek, well, you shoot mainly Glock, I believe, yourself. So that'd be interesting for me because the Glock was just coming in as I was finishing off. It was Glock 19, and I think in total I managed to get about 400 rounds, 500 rounds through a Glock. Prior to that, I was on SIG P226 and P228. Prior to that, I was on Browning 9mm. Surplus to that, I've had a Ruger Security 6. I've also had a Remington 44 black powder.
Did you shoot Desert Eagle?
Yeah, Desert Eagle in 44. I've shot 45 long Colt, and also my largest rifle caliber that I've used over here and owned. So I had for a while, which was great fun, which you'll recognise straight away. That's all I have left. 45-70 shoulder beater. That was that was a hell of a thing to shoot. I kept that one as a souvenir. Used to keep it on my key ring. Yeah, that's a stopper. That was a good one. And I have had the pleasure of launching these babies downrange. So for those of you who don't know, that is the round from a 50 caliber. I've also done 308, obviously 5.56. Done the S80, A1, A2. I've done the M4. I've done 3 or 4 different M4 variants. I've done Heckler and Koch full range from the MP5K right through to the G3. Then we moved on to the 416, 417 variants. I've done AK-47, AK-74, AK-108. I've owned myself CZs in 22 and 17 HMR. Yeah, in fact, the photograph up there on the wall, that's me on a training day with the AK-74. That was one of my mates took that. That's when I still had hair.
That's really tattoos, are
they? Didn't have so many tattoos then either. Yeah. So yeah, it's like I say, it was numerous other variants and variations and types. Pretty much, Berettas and all sorts. 92F. Yeah. SAW, or for us over here, was designated as the Minimi. That was a nice bit of kit when it came in. SLR, yeah, it's the FN. And then some of the old classics, Enfields. One of the nicest rifles I've ever shot in my entire life. A friend of mine, Martin, he pretty much owns every single Lee Enfield model they ever made, and purely and simply because as a boy, his grandfather bequeathed to him a long Lee Metford rifle that he'd carried in his military service as a young man, that he bought for a shilling when he left the British Army. and he kept that for years and used that for deer management. And then, as a very, very elderly gentleman, he passed it, bequeathed it on to Martin, who was a young army cadet at the time. And he's kept that rifle ever since in beautiful working order. Has to hand load the ammunition, purely and simply because it won't take the modern 303 rounds. They were too powerful for it. But it was just such a smooth, absolutely smooth as silk shooting rifle and deadly accurate. Right. Anyhow, that's enough chatting about guns. That was all in my past. Nowadays, personally, I'm down to a small collection of shotguns and that. So, which I use for doing a bit of vermin control and a bit of pest and vermin control. And I've got a couple of 2.2 rifles that I use as well. So, yeah, simple stuff. But again, it's all I really need. Well, it would be nice to see some of the old babies again. Yes, Hugh, sorry I didn't get back to you, mate. We will basically last 2 weeks have been a bit hectic for me. We will I'd like to sort out a day when we can dive down and have a chat to you. I know really for your subject, i.e. fungi and that, the ideal thing would probably be in the autumn to have a come down and arrange a walkout with you, and you could maybe show us a couple of examples of what I would call safe, easy identifiables, and share that if you're up for it.
You've got some interesting things coming to Pep Lane.
Drones. So, Max controlling the rabbits on his farm with drones. I can see that's the way ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, Hugh, that sounds like a plan. So that's what we'll aim at doing. So me and Mac will probably come down. We'll bring a camera with us. If you want to be on camera, you can be on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, you'd rather just sort of stand back and do a bit of a voiceover. It's up to you, my friend.
Yeah, anti-fly tipping. Can't see you.
Yeah, anti-fly tipping drones. That's a good idea. That may be something next year. I might even look into getting myself as a drone, because we do have some absolutely awesome scenery in the UK, and it would be nice to get some of it down. Guys, this has been Mick, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival. Okay, I've got to go and use the loo. Kaz needs a cheese sandwich. Have a great week, guys. Look after yourselves. Take care. I know this one went on a bit longer than normal. We got into waffling, and I've been waffling. Do apologise. Guys, have a safe and awesome week wherever you are. Have your adventures. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Look forward to speaking to you all again next Sunday. Video will be up for Friday as normal, and I'll see if I can get a couple of shorts knocked out through the week. Okay, guys, thanks. Take care. Stay safe. Love those you do. Forgive those you don't. And as always, peace and light be upon you all. This is Mickey, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival.
And Kaz says,
and
stay
Kaz,
safe, be free.
And Mac, the Hampshire Hog Hunters Club. Ladies, everybody, stay safe, be good. Mickey out.